The biggest mystery laid out for us in episode 3 was who Kinger's wife was and what actually happened to her. But it turns out little clues and Easter eggs throughout the show help us finally reveal Kinger's wife and the secret story behind her. It turns out our first big clue about her was secretly given to us all the way back in episode 1. As in this pilot, we're told a little more about how she was meant to be a crucial part of Kinger's past, and we're even able to see our first preview of her actual appearance before getting abstracted, which pops up during a specific frame of the show where we're able to spot one of the character room doors that matched the exact description of Kinger himself, only it was a female version. And not only that, but the door itself was depicted with a giant X over the image, used to tell us that this queen chess piece was actually abstracted, perfectly matching up with the fact that Kinger told us in episode 3 that his wife abstracted a long time ago. But what was the real story behind this X'd out door with Kinger's wife's face on it? Well, we were given a new update about it by Gooseworx after a fan of the show asks her, at 9 minutes and 47 seconds in the pilot episode, I noticed there was a chess piece picture on the door with an X on it, referring to the queen chess piece from earlier, but they also ask about the whole story with Kinger having a wife in the first place and what this really meant behind the scenes. And this time, the series creator responded with an actual video. Obviously, the involvement of Queenie, as we're told within this line of questioning, wasn't something they were willing to directly answer. But why did Queenie abstract in the first place? Well, behind the scenes, we're given part of the backstory by the show's creator Gooseworx, who gives us 3 total reasons for why she didn't last in the circus and basically what really happened. For starters, we're told Queenie would have had to be one of the first members in the circus, meaning she would have been trapped in the digital world the longest, leading to her being more likely to go crazy in the first place. As we hear in the pilot episode that her husband Kinger was the very first member to arrive in the first place.
Well, Kinger over there's supposedly been here the longest.
Our second reason for Queenie abstracting is we know she actually seemed to slowly start hating the digital world. We know because when Kinger recalls his memories with his wife, he says the darkness seemed to calm her down after abstracting in the first place, and that even before this happened, they were specifically in the pillow fort when she went crazy. Queenie's abstraction was the result of her being unable to cope with the overwhelming chaos of the digital circus. The constant craziness, vibrant colors, and new adventures became too much for her to handle, slowly wearing her down. As her frustration grew, she found peace only in the darkness of her pillow fort, retreating further into its quiet isolation, as Kinger recalls most of his good memories from being in this dark area in the first place. But the more time she spent there, the more detached she became from the circus, shutting out the chaotic world she couldn't control. In the end, the darkness became her only escape, likely leading her to fully abstract and disappear into the void she had created for herself. But our third reason also ended up giving us Queenie's true identity, which was partially revealed by uncovering Kinger's big secret, as we know the two are shown to be connected in a lot of ways. Which brings us to the main story of the two characters in the first place. Before being forced into this new digital world, we have proof that Kinger was actually one of the main creators of the digital world in the first place. The proof starts with the fact that he's literally the only character throughout the show that has any outside connection to anything else. He's the one with a sort of relation to Queenie in the first place. The idea of the two being chess pieces in a world designed to literally have a chessboard themed floor suggests that both of these characters have a certain importance we simply don't see with any of the others. We know Kinger refers to himself as the king, as the physical ruler of the digital world connects pretty closely to the idea of an actual developer who is in charge of making everything in the first place. It would help explain why, despite being portrayed as a forgetful character overall, Kinger is the one character out of the bunch to simply know more about the digital world than all of them. he was the only character that knew Kaufmo actually went crazy. He is the one to make the meta fourth wall breaking reference to Little Runmo, asking Zooble if they experienced a game show while being inside the stomach of the creature, as we're able to see in the other show as well. And he was additionally the character to explain how food was simply present in the digital world to offer a similar sensation to real food, as it isn't fully real. We see additional proof that Kinger's character is more important than he lets on through the fact he's associated with a bug collection on multiple occasions. It's obviously something meant to be important if it's brought up more than once, and on top of the first meaning, obviously having something to do with his wife, a viewer points out for us that it's also likely that Kinger was a developer slash programmer of the game, with his insect collection, as I've previously mentioned, is literally brought up in multiple occasions, being a very stereotypically nerdy hobby to convey this. It corresponds with him having the ability to code everything in the first place. Coupled with his knowledge of the digital world demonstrated at the very end of the pilot, I think he's just as stuck up as everyone else, but developed mentally to cope with being stuck, with some intellect remaining deep within his crazy persona. And due to Kinger being confirmed to be the oldest character out of the bunch, it makes perfect sense that he's presented to us as occasionally unstable, as being trapped in the digital world for so long would obviously have incredibly damaging effects on anyone's brain. And we know that this huge idea of Kinger being the developer of the digital world even connects to the idea of the queen chess piece that ties everything together. Assuming Kinger was only attempting to play test his creation by putting on the headset originally, only to realize there was a malfunction with actually escaping back to reality, he would need help to enter back into the real world. So assuming a connection between the two, Kinger and Queenie, would mean Queenie could very well be his partner who took it upon themselves to try to rescue him, only to realize they were now trapped in the digital world as well. But our most important detail is the fact that Kinger also has a dark secret in one of the future episodes. We're given specific posts and details about him that tell us that Kinger's secret human identity is even gonna potentially be revealed. The show's creator Gooseworx hinted at this idea earlier on by telling us that each of the circus members deep down remembered certain details from their past lives before joining the circus, and that Kinger's character specifically was important. He still had a dark secret we needed to know about. Glitchhav recently hinted that on top of his connection to Queenie, there was still something big involving Kinger that we needed to know about. And it turns out I'm able to put together everything we're told about this new secret and much more into this video right here. So for what we're told about the next episode of the show, make sure to check it out.